hello everyone. So I'm Théo Majcher and I'm the artistic director of the European theatre company named Alter Ego X, based in both France and Switzerland, so in Paris and in Lausanne.
And my name is Julie Crantelle, and I am the co-director of the company Alter Ego X. Yes, and we enjoy to be here in Torino for 2 weeks. It was like the second residency for Lèche project. It's a theatrical performance about homophobia around the world. These last 2 weeks, it was the first tryout on stage. The first residency was around the table to work on the text.
In France, there's no law against homophobia at the moment, but of course we did many steps, I would like to say, and because in 2014 we voted for the gay marriage, so now this is something which is possible in France, but there's still lots to do. And I think the best instance is the crisis that we are experiencing at the moment, because we can totally see there's lots of studies that are saying that there were an increase of violence against gay people in the frame of their family, and because some of people are still not accepted for their sexual orientation in the family. And yes, for artists, of course, they are of course fighting for that. There are lots of initiatives that are setting up, for example, lots of, we are also doing it actually, but lots of artists are making workshops with young people in schools. Also, for example, in schools in the suburb area of Paris, where there is lots, where it's really difficult to accept the sexual orientation, and I do think an artist, of course, have to something to do with all the social matters, because social matters are things from the daily life, and that's also related to the society, and an artist is definitely related to the society by essence. So all what we are trying to do is totally connected to the society, and also it's, I think, a way, all in arts in general, but and especially theater, but it's also a way to let people express themselves in another way, with other means.
It's also what we wanted with this project, is to give the voice of the people who cannot express freely, say that themselves, and also to show some part of the society, and to and I think it's also a way, it just came to my mind now, but there are lots of people, and especially, for example, minority groups, so not only LGBTQI plus people, because there are lots of minority groups such as migrant people and lots of other minority groups, but they are, it's kind of, if they were already, when you arrive in the society, we put some narratives on those people, and I think it's also a way to listen to those narratives, but in a different way. And if I can add something, it's also for us, when we wanted to do this performance, we always thought about what is an emergency to say. And I think it's maybe the start of some project. It's what is an emergency, what do I want to say at the moment, what is very inner, yes. It was the starting point of this performance, for example.
And there's lots to say.
Yes.
Sometimes, unfortunately, but there's still lots to say.
Yes. The text of Lèche it's Ogre from Jan Verboer. But it's also important, it's not to show like there is bad people and nice people. I think we cannot say that. So we really want to show, for us, it's also how the society
can push you into some ways, and it's not only about good and bad, but it's more also depending on the backgrounds of people. We can't just judge people only for their actions, I think. It's more, and I think it's too important to try to understand the different ways and the different journeys that all the people have experienced in their life. Because, according to me, in a sense, we are all good, and there's lots to do with the society when you become someone bad, fortunately.
I started to read about sociology and the story of homophobia, and how we started with like Greek antiquity from now. Yeah. And for me, it's all this patriarchal and all this also religion, who has a lot to do with this homophobia. And for me, it was very, amazing to see the evolution of this sexual orientation. And what was what take a lot of place in our mind at the moment, it's also the like with the woman, we don't have so many story about the woman. We are speaking a lot about gay people, men, but it's always now it's we learn a lot about what is happening in different countries, but still we don't see so much the place of the woman, and it's really a question we have at the moment. Why and why we are always speaking about gay and men, and not so much about women. And I think it's really related to the story of homophobia, like with sodomy and so it's something we really wonder us at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something I see, which is that we question directly in the play that we are adapting at the moment, because it's based on different testimonies and different stories of gay people, gay, lesbian people all over the world, but the presence of the stories between two men are much more important than the stories of two women. Yes. And in the end, what we also want to say, it's more, and to question, is that it's more about the question of love, actually. And we want to go far from this only sexual orientation or who you are in gender, but it's more the question about love. And what is really impressive and in a bad way is that people who are against, for example, the LGBTQI plus community, is just, we are putting effort in a way just to prevent people from loving themselves and each other. And this is here the question, how you could just agree and put so many efforts in just not letting people love themselves. That's something crazy. And
for me, love is the essence of life, and we still forget. For some people, it's a crime. It's if you just think about it, it's completely crazy. And yes.
And you told me also once something really interesting, Julie. That was, the fact that when you are listening, I don't know, to the news on the TV, of course you get the information, but it came in your mind, and then you go back to the kitchen, and so it's already out. And when you're really focusing on this matter and this topic, such as homophobia, we really went so really in depth in so many stories that you start really to feel, and you're like really so surprised, and it's back. You're really back to the reality and say, it really happens. It's really like that. Some people are dying for that.
Yes.
And
because of love.
And for example, we also have, there is a good example, because we are also doing other project on this question, and working, for example, with countries such as Croatia and Serbia. And we wanted to go, we were supposing to go to Serbia and have there an event with some gay people and from the LGBTQ community, and we wanted to record them and also to collect their voices. So we just kindly asked our partners in Serbia to create an open call something really easy and something that for her was something totally normal, because in France, I mean, and especially in Paris, that's something that is accepted, to make an open call to get the voices of LGBTQ+ people. And he just replied, it's not possible, it's too dangerous here. We have to, and this is, you have to hide yourself. For example, also at the borders, when you arrive in Serbia, you can't tell at the borders that you're coming here to make arts and a queer project. I mean, that's not something which is not possible. And then it comes to man, okay, it really counts. It's a big matter, actually. Perhaps France, it's so close to Italy that we have the feeling that it's kind of the same, but perhaps no. Yeah, I think it's also depending on the. It's not the same to do those kind of open call in the countryside or in the cities as well, but also in France actually, it makes a big difference. And sometimes we have our own reality, such as big cities, capital, and you think that everything is accepted. But when you go in the countryside and in different regions of France, and I mean we grew up in regions with in small village, and it's totally different.
And I mean, we also have this kind of reflection, like now we always speak about homophobia, let's speak about something else, and I'm shocked about that because I mean, maybe a lot of project now it's for homophobia, but no, it's a reality of a big city, it's a reality of France maybe, but it's still like a huge problem. It's not.
It is.
Yes.
It is definitely. Yeah.
For me, a monster, it's something I was afraid when I was a child, who arrived during the night and without any form or without any, I don't know, it's an image or can be a shadow, a dark shadow, or really a white shadow. It's really. And who is moving, but if I think like deeper on the topic, for me, I think we are all a monster for someone, and also I can be a monster for myself, I think. And I know inside me there is also this kind of monster I'm afraid to become, and there is this limit, and you never know if I will push this limit or not. And I think we are quite all a monster. But
perhaps we are all monsters because we also live in a monstrous society. Could be also related to that. But according to me, for sure, yes. As a child, I also had this image of the monster, and I was really afraid of the dark shadows. But I think also I liked the fact that to find also the monsters in the bodies. And for example, I do love to watch people dancing in clubs. You know, when once upon a time there were some clubs where we were going to dance. And I love also this idea of have a bright monster, because you also this kind of you become a monster because you just it's a need for freedom as well. And you can be, and I also like this idea that you can be a monster, you can be a freak, but it could be a bright and a beautiful freak. And I really like this idea, and I think this is also something that we are trying to do with Lèche Moncoeur.
Name of the company is Alter Ego X, and for us it was, first Alter Ego, it's because I think we are for each other quite an alter ego, yes. So lucky we are to.
It's like someone that you had to meet in your life, and you had to do something together, and that's what.
And yes, with us. And we still think we have many alter ego, and we need it also to build a project and to grow up. And the X, it's other alter ego, and it's multiplicity, and it's also a common chromosome between
all gender.
Between the all gender.
So it's also a way to talk about the diversity for us, and that was one of the roots of the company.
Yes.
Really to create in this diversity with diverse people on diverse topic.
And ego also it means like same, or I don't know. It's also plural.
We are kind of all the same. we are all monsters.
We really had a beautiful time here and thank you very much because we feel so lucky also to be on stage at the moment and to continue to work and to create. It gives us so much freedom, and I thank you very much because it's to Mutamento and to all the team. Yeah. And this space, I mean, it's really full of energy.
Yes.
And it was very nice start for us.
Absolutely.
And I mean, we didn't visit so much Torino. We worked a lot.
but we ate pizza and ice cream.
Yes.
So.
Gelato.